Let's see who up in here. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Happy Taurus season. Happy Taurus season to all the Tauruses. I want to go ahead and get through it. Go ahead and talk about the Sun in Taurus. I want to talk about that new Moon in Taurus that we just had, and a little bit of what that meant for everybody. And we're just going to explore and really just take a trip through the zodiac. And so I really want to go through every sign as I always have, but I want to go more in depth so that we can understand why every sign matters and why each season matters. So as we go through each season, why we're giving so much attention to each sign at a time. So I want to go ahead and get into that. I'm going to wait until a couple more people get in here, because I know I didn't give a time of when I was going to go live. I just said that I was going to go live. So I'm definitely going to give people time to get in. I definitely want to go ahead and get started though, because I'm not going to keep it too long, just to show a little bit of love. Peace and love, Shane. Peace and love, Terrence Groves. Peace and love, everybody. Talking about the Tauruses, talking about their value, talking about everything that they bring to our energy and what they bring, I always say, to our chorus of the zodiac, because everybody has a part. I always say in this song of life. And so as we go through each sign throughout the year, which is why we all have a solar return, this is also talking about your relationship to every sign and how you even came through the whole year, meaning you got through all of the signs, which is, I always say, is like the jury, you know. And so as you're going through jury, because you're always in court of life, okay, the zodiac is always watching you. So your peers are always watching you. So your peers are always judging you. So this is why as we go through life, every year for our birthday, you made it back around. You made it through every sign, and every sign gave you, I would say, encouragement and gave you light to move forward. Okay, because this also goes back to everybody's death, which there is a sign, okay, that is saying you didn't obey. This is why there are laws, spiritual laws, you know, universal laws, however, of how we move things forward through life. Okay, violation to the self and violation of others can take you out mentally, physically, or spiritually. And so I definitely want to get into Sun sign Tauruses, talking about Taurus season, talking about everything that it represents, and go a little bit deeper on a deeper level of what it represents, because I know a lot of us are very surface when we talk about astrology, but when you go on a deeper level and you tune it in, and you know, like I said, when you're in tune with the chorus of the universe, it speaks to you differently, okay? And you realize it's not just something in the newspaper or something in a magazine that you're just telling you about yourself or telling you about your day. No, it's way much more than that. It's telling you about a whole lot, okay? And this is why you can definitely relate it to the Bible and other sources of information, because astrology is just ancient, okay? And astrology goes on and on and on, before and after us, which is why there's different stages of even breaking down even how the universe is here and how it manifested into what it is now. And so going back to the Sun sign Tauruses, Sun sign Tauruses, the king and the queen of the zodiac. And so this is talking about their value. This is talking about everything that they have to offer. And this is talking about their struggles and everything that they go through for them to bear that crown and really hold the crown that everybody really wants, which is that appreciation from the zodiac, which is also your high vibration that all Tauruses either have or are seeking. And so that's why with the Sun in Taurus, we're talking about maintaining your crown and your throne. And the thing is, dealing with that, or when you're talking about them being on your throne, you have to think about a lot of stuff that goes on under the throne, or the things that got them there. So this is why Tauruses deal with quality, they deal with beautiful things, and this is why Tauruses deal with being the king or the queen of the zodiac, because they had to fight many battles and many wars to get to the place that they're at. So mentally, physically, and spiritually, this is why they deal with so much value. This is why they deal with, you know, maintaining what they have, and this is why they deal with their strength and their sturdiness, you know. And a lot of people can call it stubbornness, but sometimes they know what they know. And that's why knowledge, they know what they know is still just wisdom, which is also going back to number 2, which is also going back to Taurus, which is our second sign. And so when you're talking about our second sign, you're also talking about Venus, okay? Because Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So when you're talking about Venus, you're talking about our morning light. Okay, our morning light. And this even goes all the way back to the Bible when you're talking about Genesis in the very beginning. Okay, when there was just what? There was just water and darkness. So if there was just water and darkness in the beginning, they said let there be light. A lot of us think that when we say let there be light, we're talking about the sun. When they say let there be light, the very first light was the light of Venus. Okay, because the light of Venus is the crack of dawn and it came before the sun. Remember that when they say let there be light, you're talking about the sun and the moon and all of that and the constellations was not created until the fourth day. So you're still talking about the first day, let there be light, which is Venus. So this is our first light. This is our crack of dawn in the morning before the sun comes. This is why Venus comes before the sun. The Venus is bringing on the parade and letting you know and giving you an alert that the sun is coming. So the sun sustains things, but Venus lets you know. So this is the constant light. Okay, and so Venus ruling Taurus is giving a whole lot of value into wisdom and quality things in life. But it also goes back to, you know, having no grave images or anything in the likeness, which is also going back to the second commandment as well. Also going back to the first commandment, having nobody else before you. So everything, all of this, I say, aligns to the zodiac. Okay, through my studies, that's why I say when you have a relationship with God and a relationship with the divine, you are still a scientist. You have to be able to measure some things, okay, so you can really know where you're going and what you're doing. So with the sun sign being in Taurus right now, the sun is dealing with the fruit, the trees, and everything of the grass, and this is what sustains this life. Okay, and so then when you're talking about Taurus, you're talking about looking down at value, which is the bull, which is what? Eating the grass. Okay, the dew in the morning is what feeds your food. The dew in the morning is that first light. That dew in the morning is talking about prayer, meditation, when you're breaking your fast. That first, I say contract of the day, your prayer. Okay, your first contract to your body when you eat something. Your first contract to your spirit when you meditate and all of those things. This is also the first contract to your partner when you roll over and make love in the dew in the morning. So that's why in the dew of the morning, this is why if you do in the morning, you don't have to worry about the don'ts for the rest of the day. I would say that. And so this is why Venus is so important. Now, it doesn't take away from the sun. I'm just saying that Venus lights the way for the sun. This is why when you break down what the morning means, it means Venus, which is our morning star. Okay, and then you have Vespa, which is our evening star. So this is why on the fourth day, you're talking about the creations of the moon and the stars and the sun and all those things, because he created a great light and a greater light, and he created the calendar, which is the months and the days and all of those days and the weeks and all of those things for us to measure things, which goes back to us maintaining ourselves and our body and all of those things, and maintaining our structure and also our foundation. So now with the sun being in Taurus, like I say, they're putting a lot of attention on your glory. Why? Because some things have happened months before, which is why Taurus season is so amazing. And when the moon is in Taurus, it's so amazing. There are things that have taken place where a lot of us are either seeking our value right now or looking for it or utilizing it. And a lot of us are looking for security. Why? Because of some insecurities and things that took place in the dark. And the things that take place in the dark a lot of times don't always have to be bad things. Sometimes they can be seeds. Okay, sometimes something can just be buried and it's going to grow later. So this is why when Taurus season is here, it's also talking about going back to the flowers and the trees bearing fruit and all of those things, because it's also springtime. So however you look at it as a farmer, if you look at it spiritually, however you want to look at it, it's still breaking down the calendar and what time it's for. And this is why Sun in Taurus tells you to take time to smell the roses. It's telling you to take time on the things that you have to use your senses with, which is why Taurus deals with moving slow. It deals with patience. It deals with patience because there's prosperity on the other end of patience. And so that's why the bull moves slow. And this is why the king is so rich, because he took his time. All right. And then the king is also what? Cleaning out his closet. If you cleaning out your closet, you make room for very beautiful things in your life. So that's just like no different from you ordering from Amazon or anywhere else, and it's something that you know that you have to make room for in your house. If you know that the universe, you know that God, however, is going to deliver something to you, you have to make room for it, mentally, physically, and spiritually, which is why we take journeys. And this is why we look around in our house, and this is why we make transformations and we decide what stays and what goes, because it's other things that's coming in, which is why you release. Because it's Taurus season right now, you guys, this is why it's telling us to release. It's telling you it's some things to let go of so you can really take the time to smell the roses. You can really take time to smell the flowers. You can really be a patient bull sitting here and getting your glory. And so, as we talk about everything being a vehicle, I want to go ahead and just go through the zodiac and let y'all see through the zodiac. And peace and love, everybody. I apologize. I know I normally stop and speak to everybody. Peace and love, Mo. Peace and love, Donnell. Peace and love, Shanta. Peace and love, Arthur. Peace and love, everybody. I'm glad a lot of y'all jumped on, because I know I didn't tell the time of when I was jumping on. I just said I was gonna go live, and I do that a lot. All is well. So let's take a ride through the zodiac, and let's put it in a different way so we can see how each sign really works. Because right now we at a point of buckling our seatbelt in the trip, which is Taurus. Taurus teaches us to buckle our seatbelt. That's why Taurus deals with security. Okay, and Taurus deals with what you're going to have now and how you don't move about it for later. Okay, peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. So, first thing, let's talk about you have a vehicle, right? So before you get in that vehicle, first you have to identify which vehicle is yours when you get outside. So that's why you're dealing with Aries first. You're dealing with identity. I have to know which vehicle is mine. Oh, that's my car. Okay, so now you get in the car. You get in the car, and now you're going to initiate action. You're going to crank the car up. Okay? So you crank the car up. This is why Aries, being a cardinal sign, starts things. I'm cranking something up. I'm getting something started. So it's just like when I first had my son with my mom, and she would hear him, you know, and the baby go, and she be like, oh, he getting that car cranked up. He cranking that car up. Okay? This is what Aries is in its infant state. It's a baby. Okay, and it's cranking that car up, and it's getting something started, and it's letting you know we about to do something. So this is why when you have an idea, when it's something that you're thinking about, that's Aries. You go, I think I got an idea. I think I want to go do something. I think I want to go tell somebody. However, I want to go lead the way. And this is why Aries is our pioneer. They're the first to do it. They're the winner. Nobody did it before them. And this is why they move the way they do. Okay, so first to do it, the first thing you gotta do when you're going somewhere, you gotta crank up your vehicle. This is why you in Aries, right? Now, what's the next thing you do? I'm in Aries. I done cranked up my car. I had an idea. Now I have to put on my seatbelt, because Taurus tells you to secure yourself. You're going somewhere. True? Okay, so Taurus is a seatbelt when you get in your vehicle, because you already done cranked it up, right? Now I'm in Taurus. I buckle up my seatbelt because I know that from this point on, my life is important, and the way that I breathe, which is my respiratory system, which is Taurus, is very important. And I have to stay focused, and I have to have patience, because I'm about to take me a trip. Right? Now, next sign. I done cranked up my car. Okay? I got on my seatbelt, Taurus. Now I got to adjust my mirrors, Gemini. Gemini is your mirrors, right? Because Gemini is the communication, which is going to help you change lanes in life. You got to be able to communicate effectively. When you want to go faster, when you want to go slower, and when you're trying to get ahead in life, or however, you got to be able to change lanes and communicate with other vehicles or other planets around you. So this is why you have your blinker and you have your mirrors, because you got to adjust all those things before you take a trip in life. I got to be able to look behind me, and I got to look beside me. I got to look at my blind spots and everything. So that's why Gemini is your input and output of information, because you're going somewhere. And Gemini is also, even if your blinker don't work, you're going to use your hand, or you're going to at least be like, hey, can I get over? All you need is your hands or something pretty much, and through your mirrors to know what's going on around you, Gemini. So this is, like I say, you communicate. All right? So now you done cranked up your car, you got on your seatbelt, you done checked your mirrors, and your blinker is working. Okay? Because your blinker is what's going to be important. Now your next thing is Cancer. Now you got to adjust your seats, because this is a foundation. Cancer deals with the foundation and the home. You got to deal with the whole foundation and the body of this car. Is how I feel, if I feel comfortable or not in my seat. So this is why we adjust the seat to how tall you are, to how short you are, however. Because your vehicle and the comfort of your legs and all this, when you're touching the gas and when you're touching them brakes, is important. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so this is why you gotta buckle up your seatbelt. You gotta adjust your mirrors, okay? And you gotta make sure you gotta adjust your seat. And Cancer is also a part of your blinkers because it's also a part of your parasympathetic system. Something that lets you know when things are right or wrong. It lets you know how you feel. Okay? And that's also, I'll call it your check oil light. Okay? Which will be Cancer. It's your check engine light. Something ain't right. And that's why in your stomach and your body and through Cancer, it's going to let you know this is your ding, 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 ding. You need to check that. Okay? This is what you're going to also need as you're taking this trip through life. This is why it's also a part of your family. Okay? Headquarters of life. You know, let me check with my stomach first. And you check with your stomach before you check with your mind. Because your mind changed, but how you feel can remain. Okay? And so that's why the information from your stomach, it takes a minute for it to travel up to your mind. And that's why you'll feel something first and not know why. And not put a finger on it. And you might not get the answer to weeks later, days later, or however. Sometimes years later. And so all is well. Now that you are in Cancer, okay, now you got to make sure your horn works. Because this is Leo. Leo is your horn in your vehicle. Leo, in your good place, right? When they festive and happy and excited and all those things that Leo is. Leo what? When you in your car, what you do? You beep your horn. You be like, hey girl. You use your horn to get attention, right? But also in an accident or when things is about to be an accident or when things are about to go wrong, what do? We also blow our horn. In frustration. You almost took my life. You almost hit my car, right? And Leo is the 5th sign, so it's dealing with your children. Especially if I have my children in my car. Oh, I'm really going off. So this is why Leo is the horn. Beep, beep. Did you see me? You know, or you beep, beep because you want to speak to somebody. It just depends on where the Leo is at. But you got to make sure your horn works and there's an airbag, right? Just in case you collide. I need something that's going to save me. So this is why you need confidence and faith to get through things, which is why Leo is very important in your vehicle. Now, Leo is also the radio, okay? Because I want something that's going to keep me on my journey, right? And something that's going to keep my energy up, correct? So that's why Leo is the radio, but then Taurus is the tuning, okay? And so Taurus deals with the tune and the actual song, but Leo is just the actual radio that's playing something that's also giving you that faith or keeping you consistent throughout your trip, okay? Now, after Leo, your horn work. Now you got to start paying attention to the speed limit. The speed limit is Virgo. So that's why Virgo is very careful and very meticulous and want to pay attention to everything. And they want to make sure that they're doing everything right. And even when Virgo, that's why I deal with a very nervous energy. Okay, because when Virgo, when they're like, oh man, I ain't know, the speed limit was 45, I was going 65. They real nervous. They want to do everything right. They deal with perfection. They don't like imperfections. They don't like being wrong. Okay? And they like to be very responsible and they deal with duty and obligation. So that's why Virgo is also that person up in the front letting everybody over. When you're trying to get up the line, Virgo, the person is assisting everybody. You can get over. Come on over. Okay? So you have to think about that too. Virgos, because they're so careful and responsible and because they feel like it's their duty to be a certain way, they always paying attention to the signs. That's why they're very important, and their intellect is very important because they always watching the signs, and sometimes a little bit too much. Okay? And so now, if Virgo is the speed limit and it's keeping you responsible and keeping you out of trouble, now as you're going through your trip and you're going and you're driving, something could very much happen, right? Something could go wrong where you might need assistance. So this is where Libra comes in. Libra is the assistance, or Libra is also your spare tire. When something goes wrong, you need backup. So this is why Libra represents your contracts, the people that you know, your connections with people, and also your relationship with God. Because you might need to call out and you need a good balanced relationship with somebody to get the proper assistance you need. Or if you ain't got nobody else, you got a spare tire. Okay, you got a spare word, and you have to also make sure that you have something in your account when you're talking about your dealings with the universe. So this is why how you deal with other people, that's what you have in your account. So that's why when money and things come in your favor and you get things at the right time, or you get just the amount of time that you needed and not just the money or the right food that you needed, or the right person to watch your children at the right time. Or somebody come, you be like, dang, I was just about to call you. My goodness gracious, this is assistance, but this is also going back to Venus. Venus is your light. It's a constant light, day and night. So this is why Venus can sometimes even get mistaken for the moon or the sun. Venus is in there all the time. You can look all the time, and it's a constant light that is there through the day and the night. So this is what brings you your pleasure, your bliss, and your joy. That dew in the morning that feeds us. That dew in the morning that feeds our spirit. That dew in the morning that we all been hearing about our whole life. It's a church song. The dew in the morning that gently rests upon my heart. This is what feeds us. So this is why they say when you get up in the morning, early rise is very important. Okay? And so Venus also going back to Libra is that assistance that you need when you need it, when you're in a bind, when you're in opposition, when you're in war or in battle in life or on the road. You got to make sure that you got a spare tire, and if you don't have assistance, you got to be able to know how to hook it up yourself. So this is why Aries is so important to the Libra energy. What you can do alone and what we can do together. Okay? And so now, you got a spare tire when things going wrong. Okay, well, what if you don't check your tire, and what if you don't know how? And what if you didn't have assistance? Well, this is where you get into Scorpio. Scorpio is your wreck. Scorpio is your first time nicking somebody else's car. Sometimes Scorpio, you don't even hit somebody else's car. You hit the pole. You hit a tree. You hit your own car. You hit the house. You did something where you had to learn the value of your car, the value of your life, and sometimes it could be something that almost took your life. So that's why Taurus teaches you the value of everything, but Scorpio really teaches you the value of everything, because Scorpio, you got to learn your lesson first. You got to lose it to gain it. And so that's why Scorpio is telling you, hey, you know, you got to have some dark times and really know what the dark look like to really know what the light look like. And so this is why you appreciate Taurus so much. This goes back to the security. So I remember I say your first lesson, your first time doing something to tear up your vehicle is going to be through Scorpio, okay? But it's also teaching you the value of things in Taurus. And you don't appreciate your vehicle until something bad happens. And then you start thanking God for your body, everything that you have, your family, and all of this. And when you lose things in Scorpio, whatever you lost in Scorpio, whatever you come back up with, and whatever remains is what was real. And so that's why Scorpio is some very deep waters. So imagine being a very well-dressed king or queen, and somebody saying, hey, you're going to have to jump in these waters to find your stuff. And you say, well, I'm dressed, and I got on all my jewelry and my gold, and I have on all these things. I don't want to jump in that water. And somebody say, well, you jump in that water, how you know your jewelry and all that stuff is even real? How about you jump into the water, and when you come back out, if your jewelry and all that still the same color, or if you still even have it on, whatever you come back up with, you can keep. Whatever you come back up with, you can have. Whatever you come back up with is what's really valuable, even if it's just your breath. And this is why we have to understand the value of things and the value of our life. And so that's why Scorpio is your first accident in your vehicle, teaching you the value of your life and your vehicle and everything else that's around you. And it teaches you to take care of it. Okay? So then the next thing, after Scorpio, you had your first wreck, okay, and you had your first lesson, you was in trouble, you was on punishment. Okay, well now you're a little bit older now, maybe you can get on the highway. You decide, you know what, I appreciate my vehicle and what it does for me. I think I want to go a little bit further now in life. So this is why Sagittarius is the highway. The highways and byways of life when you're in your vehicle, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Sagittarius can take you very far. Sagittarius is what's going to get you off the porch. Sagittarius is what makes you feel like you're a big boy or a big girl. Because outside of that, you feel very small. Which is why Sagittarius wants to travel and they want to go further. Because they want the world to not seem as big as it does. And they don't want to feel as small as they do. So that's why when they travel, they realize that the world ain't that big. And then that's when they realize I'm bigger than I was, because their mind is bigger, because they've seen more things and their perception has changed of different cultures and things that happen around them. So that's why Sagittarius is your highway. But you can't get on the highway till you heal from that first accident, which is your first lesson, which is Scorpio. And the opposite of Scorpio, your first accident is Taurus, your seatbelt. When they investigate an accident or anything like that, that's the first thing they look at is how fast you was going, your speed, did you have on your seatbelt, was anybody drinking? Now we're going to get into the drinking part, because that also goes back to Pisces. Did you have anything in your system, or was you distracted, or was you intoxicated when you was behind this vehicle, or was you who you say you were? What caused this accident or this collision in the first place? So this is why now, after Sagittarius, you get on the highway, you start to think you're a big boy and girl. But guess what's on the highway? You got the state troopers. So this is what we call Capricorn, because Capricorn brings a restriction. So you already had your first accident in life, but this is why Capricorn also is a restriction and the boundaries and a limitation. This is also your karma. And so this is why you've been thinking you're doing good, and that's why when the police pull up behind you, you be like, man, it ain't just the regular police. That's why I say the state trooper. However, when you're traveling far and wide, those are the ones that's on the highways of those country corners, correct? And so this is why, as far as you think you're going, Capricorn or Saturn can see all of those things. And so that's why it's saying, hey, you need to tighten up in these areas. So that's your first ticket, your first restriction, your first time having to take a class or however to teach you how to be on the road. So this is why you travel far and wide. We go to school, we go to college, we go to all those places. We got to learn one way or the other, and it's going to cost us something. Which is why Taurus teaches us to save our money and hold on to it, because everything in life is going to cost you something. Okay? So after that, in Capricorn, you get your first restriction, but you also learn to start investing in your vehicle in Capricorn. You start to learn to start putting oil in there. You start learning to put quality gas. You start remembering what gas stations to go to, who has the good gas, who got the decent gas prices, and all those things. And a gas station spiritually ain't nowhere but a place you can go to relax spiritually. So this is why people have church, or they have a pastor or a therapist or an astrologer or a card reader, or however. All it is a gas station, somebody to just get you back on the road. Okay? So you learn all of those things through Capricorn, how to invest in my vehicle. Why? Because I could sell it one day. I could do something with it one day. Somebody else could benefit off of what I'm putting work in. So this is why Capricorn deals with investments. Okay, so now if you get out of Capricorn, you're talking about crossroads and you're talking about railroads, which is Aquarius. You got to learn how to stop. You got to learn how to stop at those railroads and how to make decisions when you're at a crossroads. And a lot of people still try to rush and pass and get through those lines on the railroad, even when the train is approaching, which can take your life, which is called a miracle or disaster. It can be very risky if you don't pay attention, or if you can't hear the alarm from the train. It could be something that could bowl you over. And so this is why Aquarius is our crossroads or our railroad, about where you're going and what you're doing. And so this is all just simply telling you how your vehicle works and how each sign is very important in the zodiac. All right? And so the last sign, after you learn how to make decisions and you know how to get past and move forward, and you have confidence to get through mistakes and things that don't always go in your favor, that's in Aquarius. Which is why you have to learn how to be flexible in Aquarius. That's why you have to learn how to deal with people in Aquarius. And that's why you have to learn how to not be easily embarrassed when things don't go right, or it feels like not in your favor in Aquarius. You make decisions, and it's either a right decision or a wrong decision in Aquarius, which also deals with people and your friends, and using wisdom towards people that are in your life. All of that is Aquarius. All right, and so the last sign is talking about Pisces. Pisces deals with distractions, so Pisces also deals with rubbernecking. Okay? When you are in life, in your vehicle, okay, which a lot of us do, and there's something else on the other side happening, you see a bunch of lights, you see a bunch of cars, or however, and you're not paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing, okay, this is how you can cause another collision. So this is why you're not supposed to be rubbernecking and all that. That's why when you have trust and faith, even when it appears that something is going wrong in the other lane across the way, you ride by, you go, it looks like something happened over there. I pray that everything is okay. Why? Because if you try to stop and look for yourself and observe for yourself, you might crash into something. So this is why we call Pisces rubbernecking. And that's why Pisces is so important with their trust and faith, because sometimes Pisces get easily distracted and they get led astray and they don't always pay attention. And they're not always on task with everything. But at their highest self, they on task with everything. They see everything, you know, and they not easily, you don't just get their attention in other ways. And so, I apologize. Somebody was messaging me. And so this is why I say this is your ride through the zodiac. Every sign is good for something. So if we just came out of identifying our vehicle, which is Aries, and we just identified and just came out of cranking things up after we identified it, that's why now we're in Taurus season telling you to buckle your seatbelt. You're going on a ride. All right, and that's why it's also telling you to protect your breathing. which is also Taurus. Okay, that's why it goes back to Venus, which is the morning light and the evening light. Okay, that's why. And you're talking about Venus, but it's a constant thing. We're just talking about also your breathing. That's a constant thing. That's something you don't think about. That's what I say. Your medulla oblongata. Nobody thinks about and nobody gives enough praise to. That what helps you to cough, what helps you to sneeze, what helps you to breathe, and something that you don't even think about on a day-to-day that continues to keep going as far as your breathing that a lot of us don't pay attention to. Your medulla oblongata, give praise. Okay? Because you don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about clearing your throat because something in it. You just naturally do it. You don't have to think about sneezing because something is blocking something or you're allergic to something. You just naturally do it. You don't have to think about coughing to clear your airway. You just naturally do it. And nobody thinks about that. You know, when you even pass gas or when you burp or all those things, all you're doing is making comfort in your body. And your medulla oblongata, it makes all those things possible. It's a part of your brain that a lot of us do give no recognition to. So when we're giving our praises and we're talking about God, it's simply the body, but it's different parts of our bodies that gives us a lot of information in different areas to help you to move further in different areas, which is why you go through the signs, which is our body. So, going back to Taurus season, buckle your seatbelt. Why? Because the king is on the throne. The king or the queen or the goddess is on the throne. The king and the queen is on the throne, but how sturdy is this throne? So this is why you're talking about disturbances and secrets and all of those things that take place in people's lives. And you're talking about when people have value and a level of appreciation and how rich they are mentally, physically, and spiritually. You have to understand, for one, the journey that what got them there. But you have to understand that that's a real throne, that that's a real crown. Because some people may be sitting on the throne, but they put in no work, no effort, haven't lost anything, haven't had any type of battles. They're just sitting there. Okay, and so it's even going back to something just being given to them. You have to work for everything that you have, and you have to be able to get rid of a lot of old stuff, like I say, to have the new. And so that's why Taurus is the king or the queen, but it's right across from the darkness, which is Scorpio. And I always say, secrets have no place in the presence of the king. Secrets have no place in the presence of the king. So this is why the king is your consciousness, your Christ, your divine space, your glory, what you are aware of. Okay, so the secrets have no place in your subconscious. You should be aware of everything that's taking place, which is why when you watch TV or who you talk to or who you connect with, or all of those things have a whole lot to do with your Christ, have a whole lot to do with your king and your consciousness and what you let into your body. And your subconscious is taking notes of everything that is taking place. So this is why I say secrets have no place in the presence of the king. Your body and your mind need to be aware of everything that's taking place. So this is why you put all your things on the table in Taurus season. That's why everything that happened in Scorpio season, you going back through all the things that you may have lost. And this is why it's time for you to redeem and recover and rediscover things that you have lost in Scorpio season. So this is why with Taurus, you're talking about pushing up daisies. You're talking about pushing up the flowers. Well, the dead is the manure to the flowers. You have to give and kill something off in order for the flowers to grow in Taurus season. You got to know what you're getting rid of in Scorpio. So that's why I say Scorpio is the yard sale. You either buying something or getting rid of something. And you have to have promise and you have to have faith in self and a high vibration and a high frequency to trust when you buy something or get something from somebody else that you can, I would call it, there's transmutation of energy, that you can heal it and change it back over and make it into something better, which is why you might get something from a yard sale for $5 and turn up the volume on it and really bring out the value on it, and it end up being $500. This is why you find something that somebody don't know what they had, and that's why you buy it from them. So this is why it goes back to all of that when you're talking about making things anew and regenerating in Scorpio. You got to know what to kill, what to get rid of, and what to release in Scorpio to truly enjoy your flowers in Taurus. Now, I don't know how many of you guys read the Bible or however, and it doesn't have to be religious or anything like that. It's a book of information, and it's quite fantastic. And the stars are there. The map is there. It truly is. If you ever read anything about Job, that ain't nothing but Taurus and Scorpio. For everything to be taken away from you, for all those things to be restored because of your faith. And so that's why You start out with Job having a lot and having everything, right? This is the king you're talking about in Taurus, true? He had everything. And Satan said to God, I'm going to challenge his love for you. Because God said, he was bragging about Job. He said, Job loves me. And Satan said, well, let me challenge how much he really loves you. And so he did a lot of things and took a lot of things and turned Job's life upside down. Took his children out. They was drinking and all of that, they said, and being married, true? And then they wiped him out. Satan said, I'm about to test this man. And he tested that brother, right? And he lost a lot. He had boils on his body and everything, okay? And his wife, Job's wife, said, won't you just curse God and die? And he said, I will not curse God. And he never cursed God. And everything he got, everything he lost, he got it back. Double fold. His children, he got more children. He got all his livestock and everything came back. So the thing is, I'm not preaching to you. I ain't even trying to teach to you. The point is that all lines together with the astrology. Everything is just a story or parable, and it's just letting you know, and it's giving you ties to really to get in line with our morals and our integrity and our principles. And some of us don't have it. So you're going to find it in the Quran. You're going to find it in the Bible. You're going to find it in different places. And they don't take away from your foundation. They don't take away from your spirituality. It helps you lead to you. Actually, it helps you, leads you to it even more is what I was trying to get to. It really do. And so when we're talking about measuring the floor, which is what I like to do, you can't be real surface when you're talking about the astrology. When you're talking about the sun in Taurus, you're talking about the fruits and the berries and the trees being plentiful. Because everything was barren in Scorpio season. Everything was barren October, November. So this is why when Venus is in Scorpio, this is why Scorpio wants to hold on to Venus so much. Okay? Because it's a light. And it holds on to it so much because it's a blissful, blissful place to be. And it's coming into a very dark place. And it's bringing a lot of love and comfort in a place that don't normally have that. Okay? So if in the beginning there was darkness and water, all right, there was complete dark, there was nothingness, right? And water. So in the very, very beginning, that sounds like a womb, right? In the very beginning, that also sounds like Scorpio, correct? Because Scorpio is everything we cannot see in the beginning. So this is why Pluto, it takes the longest to get through the zodiac, right? Because maybe it was already here first, right? So this is why that Scorpio energy is the womb of a woman. When there's nothing but water and darkness. And then he said, but there was the Spirit of God on the face of the water. Okay? And so there was water, darkness, and then there was some breathing happening. My goodness. And so you break things down on so many other levels. So this is why Taurus tells you to buckle your seatbelt. If you want to get rich spiritually, you got to preserve yourself. Okay? And you have to be wise with your dealings with your money and all of those things. You have to be wise with your dealings, not just money. And this is what goes back to the second commandment. Okay, and this is not saying you got to go do all of this. I read the Bible. You don't have to read the Bible. I'm just correlated to whatever you believe or whatever you've been taught, that the science is there. And the religion, you tie things together. The first religion is astrology. If you're really going to learn about the planets and what's up here, you got to know what's down here. This is why you measure the floor. You can't know nothing about what's going above you. If you can't go up there, that's why you come down here. But you can go up there when you suspend your consciousness. So this is why they call sleep, which is rest, prayer or meditation, a suspension of consciousness. You're going to pray, you're going to meditate. I'm trying to go higher, ain't I? Right? And so this is why you have to suspend it. And that's why some people in ignorance are in the suspension of consciousness, which we call death or sleep or however, which is why some of us are woke or however, and we talk about the conscious community and all those things or however. At the end of the day, your conscious community is your body, which I say all the time. Your eyes, your feet, your hands, your leg, your whole entire body, that is the conscious community. You have to be aware of yourself. And when you're aware of yourself, we are collectively aware of each other. That is your conscious community. So we are all here. We are all present, but some of us are suspended more than others. And when you get suspended, you what? You can't come to class. So some of us are suspended in our consciousness, and that's why they can't come to class. So this is why we say they sleep. Why? Because they are suspended. And so that's why when you get out of school suspension, your mama tell you to go in there and lay down because you done got suspended. There's a suspension of your conscience. Go to bed. Okay, or when you get in school suspension, what you do? You in ISS, but you still do what? You in detention or however, you still go to sleep. You still rest. There's still some things you need to know. So those people who are suspended in their ignorance, that, you get what I'm saying? They are suspended and they are asleep, but they're not here. So this is why Taurus teaches you to wake up, because you can't have secrets. You got to go ahead and clear out things that have happened so you can really be ready for what's being brought your way. They always say clear out things yourself too. You know when you're about to move, when you're about to move into a house or however, and you got friends or however that want to move, they want to help you move. And there's certain parts of your house you don't need help with because it's just certain things you don't want other people to see. You might have a closet or a drawer or whatever. And you be like, oh, I don't need help in there. And this is why the universe tells you to clean out your own closet. Okay? And this is why God tells you to clean out your own closet for somebody else to do it. Wherever you got hooks at. So that's why they say, wherever you're trying to shine or wherever you're doing well in life. If Satan, if you got any hooks on you anywhere that you got hooks on you still, Satan is going to hook onto it. Okay? And the universe, is going to allow Satan to use it. So that's why they call it demons or low frequency energies or however, somebody with low vibrations. Wherever somebody knows something about you that they can expose it, that's why I say expose it yourself. You know what you know. And then people don't know what they don't know. So that's why I say with Taurus season, it's telling you to go ahead and clean out your own closets. Go ahead and go through your drawers. Go ahead and release things that have bound you. So this is why Scorpio deals with being a hoarder, a mental, a physical, or a spiritual hoarder. It deals with hoarding because it's things that you don't want to let go of, because things you think you're going to need later. Things that you've been holding on to for years that you ain't going to never use, that has been no use to you. Thoughts, things that people done said to you, done to you, they hurt you, that's fine. But how far is it going to get you? And where is it going to get you later? You get what I'm saying? So that's why they say, forgive but don't forget. Yeah, you don't forget because it's a part of your wisdom. It's a part of your money now. It's in your pocket now. Where you can go and where you can't go and who you can and can't trust. That is money. That is money in your pocket. Okay? And this is why you also, with your wisdom, you are stronger in it if there's nothing that can pull nothing from under you. You understand? And so we have to understand our value in this. And so that's why I say there's a whole lot of good stuff in Scorpio, but you got to be willing to go through the darkness of Scorpio to really come out with your crown of Taurus. And that's why it's such an amazing place to be. And that's why when you know somebody's sign, it's not just their sun sign. Of course, if you know their chart, but even just knowing somebody's sun sign, it may not be everything about them, but that is enough to know how much to respect them. And you should respect everybody, yes. But when you know what they bring to the table, it helps you respect people and understand them more. So when you see a Taurus, even in the lower self, because a Taurus and higher self, I always say, is a king or a queen. They got everything already. They work for it. They deserve it. They love quality. They love it, right? But at lower self, they a beggar. At lower self, they don't have anything. They asking you for it. Or also in lower self, they have everything, all right? But it's on the foundation of everything that they have is wrong, okay? And they're not just in what they're doing. Okay, and there's some type of evil under their throne. So that's why I say you can be a king without you a good king. Just because you made king or you was crowned king don't always mean you was a good king. So this is why you have to clean out your closet so nobody else can tell on you and say who you really are. Be who you really are and be wrong so you can be right. Have the accident so you can see the value of your vehicle. So that's why I go through that. If Taurus is your seatbelt, Scorpio is the accident waiting to happen, but also it helps you to investigate better. Was I going too fast? Was I going too slow? Was it my fault? So this is also where you can release the things that went wrong after the investigation. So this is why Scorpio is also not only the hoarders, because they hold on to things and they don't let stuff go, but Scorpio is also, I call it the investigators. You got to truly investigate and really break down things. And Scorpio is also the, I call it the surgeon. Okay, because if you get in an accident, depending on how bad it is, you might need surgery, mental, physical, or spiritual surgery. Because sometimes you will get in an accident or collide with other people in life, and it ain't do no damage to our body, it did something to your spirit. Then a lot of us have had molestation of the spirit, molestation of the body, molestation of the mind. Somebody mentally controls you and emotionally abused you. And so this is why you don't always have to be physically raped. Somebody can take something from you in so many other ways, you know. And so that's why somebody can internally rape you or molest you and take something away from you, which is why a lot of us have resentment or darkness within us. And so those are dark, dark days that you have to get rid of. And so that's why I say you really get to enjoy the glory of Taurus when you really clean out your closets of Scorpio. And Scorpio is not a horrible place to be. It's a beautiful place to be when you clean it out and when you're thorough. And this is why Scorpio deals with thoroughness, and they can see very well. All right, and they can see very well, but when they're looking for stuff, they're looking for intent. So this is why Scorpio is a very good judge of character. Now, why am I talking about Scorpio so much in this Taurus season? Well, because a Taurus ain't nothing but a Scorpio, and a Scorpio ain't nothing but a Taurus. And so that's why I say it's 12 signs, you guys, but it's really only 6 signs. Because all these signs, all 12 of these signs condense to another sign. And so when you cut all the signs in half, it ain't nothing but 12 people in the world. When you cut them in half even further, you realize it ain't nothing but 6 people in the world. You have met everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't no further than that. So that's why I say when you measure the floor, have I met everybody? You've been everywhere and you've met everybody. So this is why even somebody's first time you meeting them, and they a stranger, you never met them before, but they feel like somebody you've met, whether it's a good feeling or a bad feeling. Why? Because your subconscious is watching everything. Your subconscious takes notes. Remember that time, remember that time, remember that time. Now, when you even break down the subconscious even more, this is why your subconscious is even important. And this is for me, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but my understanding as I break down through the Bible, going back to astrology, man, mind, and how we all work. Okay? So when you're talking about this, let's go back to Adam and Eve. Okay? So it took a whole week. Everything was still created, and it still wasn't no man yet, right? So if everything was created, and then we said we're going to create man. Now, I'm even getting to the dew in the morning when I talk about Venus, because Venus going back to the dew in the morning, which rules Taurus. I'm going to get back into that dew in the morning, because a lot of us believe that the sun is what keeps our plants and everything alive, and it's not the sun that keeps everything alive. Venus is what keeps everything alive. Venus is what feeds your food. Venus is that dew in the morning when you go outside and you touch the trees and you touch the grass. That dew and that wetness in the morning, that's what feeds your food, not the sun. The sun sustains your food. The sun keeps it alive and keeps it to thrive, but Venus is what feeds it. And so we have to understand what all our planets truly do. So that's why it doesn't matter where Venus is in your chart or what sign that it's transiting through. The Venus always is going to be a very blissful place for it to be. Okay? So that's why I say go back to your Bible. Now, Adam. The whole week done went by. We done had a day of rest. Okay? We done created the sun, the moon, the stars. We done created from the heavens. We had the first light. Let that be light, right? And then on the second day, we created from the midst of the heavens and the waters, we created the heavens, right? So this is now we're talking about Aquarius, we're talking about Uranus, we're talking about Saturn, correct? Okay, boom. So now, on the third day, we're talking about how we came with the plants and the fruit and the trees and all that. Now, all that came before the sun. And this is why I'm telling you that the plants and all of those things, they sustained by the sun, but they don't need the sun to eat. They need Venus to eat. And Venus is the light that comes before the sun. So Venus is that crack of the dawn. Alright? And so this is what feeds your food. And so now we're going back to Adam and Eve. Okay, so now we're going to create man. Man, which represents mind. Man means mind, your consciousness, your awareness. So it's not just man and woman. And this is how I perceive it. So this is no disrespect to anybody and your beliefs. But I study the Bible a lot. Okay? And I'm also an astrologer. So I have to be able to measure what I'm reading. So no, that's why I say I study the Bible, but I'm not a Christian. I study the Bible and I'm an astrologer because I study the stars, which is in the Bible, which was created in the 4th day. Which is why we have to understand that we've been taught so much against our science, you guys. Well, I'm not saying God is real. So that's why I say, well, don't you want to be able to measure what you can do? And this is where the magic and the bliss of it all comes from. It's everything you can't measure. And this is where the bliss is and everything that is in between. Okay? Everything that you can't, I can't put a ruler to this. Okay? This is a real bliss of things. Okay? So then Adam was here and you created Adam. Alright, you created man. You created mind. Right? And then he said he put Adam in a deep sleep. meaning a deep sleep. He suspended, once again, he suspended his consciousness. He wasn't dead or none of those things. And there are different times in your life that you are suspended of consciousness. That's why I say when you are when you're dead, when you're resting, all right, when you're praying, when you're meditating, when you're in surgery, mental surgery, physical surgery, it don't matter, spiritual surgery. You are suspended, right, of your consciousness. He suspended his consciousness and he said he took a rib. Now, what's a rib? A rib is talking about what? It's something that's protecting a part of your internal organs, all right? It's a part of your thoracic cavity, correct? So it's helping protect, it's a part of your structure to protect your internal organs, your thoracic cavity, specifically your heart. So he took something that was a part of the structure that was protecting your heart. And Eve means to breathe. Eve means breath, right? And he created what? Woman, which is your subconscious. So Adam is your conscious and Eve is your subconscious. So this is why Eve is to breathe, is the breath, and this also goes back to spirit. Now this is your subconscious, and this is where we break down even further not being distracted. So the whole point of the Bible, you guys, we don't have to, there's no disrespect to anybody's religion. The whole point of the Bible or anything that you read of faith, that's what it's talking about. It's faith. Faith is confidence. Okay, and all it's really talking about is keeping your eye on what? The sparrow. And making sure you're not easily distracted. And so, goes back to the subconscious being easily distracted. And I'm not saying, let's go back into the serpent. However, now the serpent ain't always necessarily nothing bad. And this is why we have to learn how to read. Because if we can't read, we can't write. And I'm talking about direction. I ain't talking about your penmanship. And so, you have to be able to read and really apply words. And so, when we're going back through all of these things, we're just talking about your conscious and your subconscious and the meeting of the minds and the marriage between man and woman. And the man has to be able to trust his woman. The conscious has to be able to trust the subconscious because the subconscious is way more powerful. And so you have to give her a list of things to do before she manifests anything. Because she can make decisions but you're not aware. Because what? Adam wasn't there when she was talking to that snake, to the serpent. The conscious was not aware. Once again, the suspension of the consciousness. And now you have to really work off your subconscious, which is Eve, which is the breath. Right? And it goes even deeper, of course, with their children, Cain and Abel and all that, which we can go through. But the whole point of this, I'm breaking down how all this correlates to the Bible. And like I say, it's not any disrespect or cause no discomfort to anybody in your beliefs. I grew up in the church. And it makes me cry when I read now as an astrologer, as I read through the Bible, a whole lot of things that I hear that is in what I do all the time. And so the Tauruses, give them respect, you guys. They came from some very dark places for them to have that crown on. And you know when they open their mouth, if they're a person of quality. And they are. This is why Tauruses always have money. My son's birthday was yesterday. This boy has had more money than me. Every time his birthday comes around, it's just he naturally just attracts money. He naturally just attracts favor. And that's why I say he's ruled by Venus, which is your morning star. That boy is always in favor of the universe. It is just like all of us, every Taurus I know, always get their way. These are some very blissful people. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they can be mean people. Yeah, they can be some stubborn people. But you have to understand why they're not going to move as fast. They don't work real hard for where they're at in life. They work very hard for everything that they have. And so it's going to take them a minute, which is why they represent wisdom. It's going to take me a minute before I move. I'm not as fast as the Aries. Aries move fast because Aries just now starting their journey. But, hey, Taurus, there's levels to this shit. And so that's why Taurus not going to move as fast. And it's a bull, like I said, right? And so you got to be wise about how you're dealing with that bull, which is why when you see, anytime you see a Taurus put their head down, whether they look like they're praying or whatever they're doing, they got their head down, they looking up at you. They about to charge you. And it ain't always got to be physically. They're going to charge you mentally, or they're going to charge you financially. Okay? So that's why the bull will overbear you and they will trample you over because they cost. And that's why wisdom is very important. And they say wisdom is far more important than wisdom is far more important, than rubies, gold, and all of those things. And it is. You know? Would you rather have $1 billion, $1 million, or would you just rather have trust that every time you need something is right there when you need it? Some of us may never see the whole $1 million. You might go through the $1 million in a lifetime. You never see it once at the whole time. And you know what I'm saying? You don't realize how many hours of rest you really had. A lot of us don't even realize how happy we really are because it's buried under the stuff that is covering up our magnet of happiness. So that's why the law of attraction is so important. But that's why the law of attraction also challenges the law of vibration. You got to be able to have confidence, faith in all of those things to get through everything that you're going through so that you can challenge whatever bad vibrations that could come your way. So that's why Taurus deals with sound, and they deal with using your senses. Tauruses love good smells. They love beautiful sounds. That's why they love good music. They deal with tone. So that's why Taurus can even pick up your tone when you got an attitude real easy. Okay? And so a Scorpio might have good eyes, but a Taurus got good ears. Their ears are their eyes. You understand? They can hear everything. That's why they deal with vibration. My son said that to me all the time. I apologize. Somebody was calling my phone. But that's why he said, Mama, you said it, man, your tone, I ain't like the way you said that. So more and more, that goes back to learning your children's chart. You start to realize you can't just be all rough with this bull. You got to touch this bull. This bull is very graceful. This bull is very valuable. This bull is helping you to breathe. It's very important when you're talking about Taurus. As I say, they deal with your respiratory system. And your breath is way more important than anything else. That's why it don't matter what you lose in life. If you can go back, even if it's your breath, you are still a winner. Okay? And that's why you can start over. And that's why Scorpios and Tauruses deal with starting over and over and over. And that's why Tauruses hold on to what they have, because they don't have to start over so much. They lose a lot. And that's why they hold on to it. So that's why I call Taurus the old man with money. I apologize. But they always have a lot of wisdom, money, and all that, but they only give it to you $1 at a time. And so that's why I say they move slowly, because they move with wisdom. And they want to make sure they're secure in their purchase. They want to know that they're secure with what they're giving value to, what they're giving attention to. So when you're talking about a Taurus lover, even a Taurus child, or however, you got to take your time. If you don't want that bull to trample you, okay? And they like to live good, they like to eat good, but they work hard. So that's why Taurus get the big piece of chicken. And Sagittarius get the big piece of chicken, because Sagittarius been on the road all day. But Taurus been pulling the plow in the fields all day. And sometimes that lazy bull over there just smelling the flowers and ain't doing nothing. But most of the time that bull is pulling his weight. So that's why when I want a whole lot, I want a whole lot of everything, is what the Taurus say. And I also want quality, is what the Taurus say. And that's why they live very well. But they also deal with couponing. Okay, Taurus could have a lot of nice things in their home and ain't spend too much on it. Everything they got was on the deal. Everything they got was on the deal, but then you have to realize that not everything in life is a coupon. So that's why Taurus has started to realize sometimes you got to start paying for the quality of things. Things have a cost. You got to pay for that later. And so, you want to be the king or the queen, but at what cost? And then when you're a true king or queen, you know what you paid. Okay, and so that's why it's easy for you to stay on your throne all as well. So, peace and love to the Tauruses. I send my love and my honor to you all. And I pull up the Scorpio because the Scorpio is a Taurus. They just move different. They do Scorpio stuff first before they get to their Taurus stuff. But Taurus is learning how to hold on to that value, which is why it goes back to the second commandment of not having any images or anything, engraved images or anything in the likeness. Okay, but why? Because they say God's a jealous God, but that goes back to Aries. Aries is who I am. Don't put anybody before self. And then you don't put anything in the image, which is money, coins, and all that. Anything physical property outside of self. You don't do any of those things. That's in a likeness. If you trust that there's value and there's money within you, you don't have to worry about ever losing anything. So that's why I say, would you rather have $1 million? Or would you rather just everything be on time and you get it when you need it? And when you have everything right when you need it, you eat when you're supposed to eat, you rest when you're supposed to rest. People call you when you need assistance, right on time. They answer the phone right on time. My goodness. And so yeah, you might never see the $1 billion, but it's within you already. And that's why you have to trust. You have to know who I am. I put nobody else before me. And that's why that's a form of narcissism, people who feel like they don't need God or a higher power. When you don't give credit where credit is due, that's something that was operating your vehicle, which is why I explained to you how you operate your vehicle. You got to crank up your car first. You got to secure yourself first. You have to check your mirrors first, Gemini. You have to make sure you are in your seat right and position your seat and adjust your seat right. Cancer, right? You have to make sure your horn works. Just in case of an emergency, you have to have faith. Okay, Leo, you have to look at the signs. And that's why I say you have to pay attention to the speed limit, which is the rhythm of your life. That is Virgo. All right? And this is why you have to have a spare. You need to have assistance. You need to have backup if anything goes wrong, which is the house of God, which is dealing with accompaniment, accommodations, and all that is Libra. You got to have a good contract with God to get through everything. And God is not just in the sky. God is you and I. So this is why your contract with other people, your word is your bond. Now, I mean, that's in the Bible. Your word is your bond. People trust you more. Your face is good in life when your word is your bond, when you keep your word, when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you know? And so this is why it's so important. And that's why when you keep your word to God, it's easy for you to keep your word to everybody. When you keep your word and your contract to God, it's easy for you to maintain things properly with your mate, with your friendships and everybody. It's easier for you to give honor and be respectable at work. It's easier for you to be faithful to your husband or your wife because you already made the contract with God. So regardless of what they're doing, it's not your business what they're doing. And this is why you have to pay attention to those things. And that's where the faith comes from. And so, you know, you guys, there's so many ways we can go about this. And so I don't, like I say, when I go into the Bible and when I align that with astrology, that's what we're supposed to do. And I never want to disrespect anybody, but in your ignorance, don't disrespect yourself. And so that's why I say, hey, listen, I ain't here to step on no toes. And when we talk about stepping on toes, you have to understand that stepping on somebody's toes is somebody's acceptance, their faith, and everything that represents what they believe and what they walk on. So that's why Pisces is so important, because Pisces is your feet, which is leads you wherever you're going, which is also a part of your subconscious, and it's a part of your third eye chakra. And so this is why all of this is so very important when you tie it in together. You cannot coupon through life. You have to pay the full price sometimes, and that's quite okay. And so this is why you read different stories, whether it's Aesop's fables, whether you read the Bible, or however, it's simply just telling you what the signs are telling you, and it's simply telling you what has happened before you, and it's simply giving you a sign. Don't go that way, dead end, too fast, too slow. Something might be around that corner. This is why you get pulled over, not just by the police. This is Saturn. This is why when Saturn gets real close to our planet, our natural planet, everybody started to get a little nervous. Because Saturn about to bring somebody a ticket. So that's why nobody really fool with Capricorn like that. Because if Capricorn here for investments, they here to put in work. They will give you a ticket so fast it'll make your head spin. And this is why they'll give you restrictions like nobody's business. You can't come back around them if you're not talking about success. And that's why you might think that the Capricorn mean. That goat ain't mean. That goat trying to survive. Okay, and you have to understand that in survival mode, anything goes. All is well, you guys. So, you know, we want to talk about astrology, yeah. But measure the floor. And you can't go no further than the floor in your body. We are of the earth. We are of the floor. We are of the soil. So there's nothing further up there than that's what's down here. So that's why the stars are within us. You close your eyes, and that's meditation and prayer. Life is a walking prayer. Life is a walking meditation. So that's why you have people who are sleepwalking, you know, and that's why you have people who are present and here. Either way, you either sleeping, you resting, or you meditating. So you can be alive and be asleep, and you can be dead and be in a meditative state. My God. So you have to know the difference. And this is why you have to walk a fine line between Virgo and Pisces of what you do every day, your daily routines and your habits. And Pisces is talking about where you get inspiration from, and your imagination and all of those things, and your relationship with a higher power and all of that, your healing and your recovery. But if I make that an everyday thing, a very divine place to be, you guys. All is well. So I'm definitely going to get into the new moon in Taurus on my next live, because I guess I went in more than I expected on this, but it's just so much more for us to know. And so when you know somebody's sign, you have to realize sometimes whether they are higher or lower self, whether they mistreat you, cuss you out, or however, you are still operating your vehicle, and it was still a sign that was telling you to do something, which is why they are signs. If you run into a Leo and they're cussing you out, that was simply the universe telling you to pay a damn attention. If you run into a Cancer and they're making you feel bad, well, the universe is telling you to be in tune with your emotions and be considerate of others. If you run into an Aries and they straight on head on about the head, but you, the universe is telling you maybe you was a little ignorant somewhere. Now you need a little knowledge. Maybe let me headbutt you a little bit and give it to you. So this is why every time I learn a lesson, whether I feel blissful or sometimes a disconnection between me and somebody, I want to know your sign. Because I want to know what the universe was telling me through you. And that's why you don't take things personal. It was nothing but a sign. It wasn't nothing but the damn mail. Check your mail. It might be a bill. It might be something good. It might be from Amazon. You never know. So you got to check the mail anyway. It's a responsibility regardless whether you want to pay the bill or not. So this is why you have to just ask God every day. You know, every day when you get up, that's why I say when you break your fast, that dew in the morning is the milk of your mother. That dew in the morning is God breaking your fast. Because all night, you know, you do the most work at night in the dark. You do the most spiritual work and emotional work at night. So that's why they say the joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes through Venus, which is your pleasure and your bliss. It comes in the morning when you open your eyes, which is a constant place to be with your breathing. You in and you out. You in and you out. The bliss and the lessons. The bliss and the lessons. This is the meditation of Scorpio and Taurus. The bliss and the lessons. You breathe in the bliss, I apologize, and you breathe out the lessons. And this is how you keep yourself maintaining through everything. And you realize that there are rich days and there are poor days. But you realize that the in between that you always had everything. Okay? And so that's why you win some and you lose some. When you lose some, you really won. So that's why you got to lose a few times to know what it's like to win. And so that's why your losses are quite okay. You became really good at losing, but now you're a scholar at winning. Why? Because I became a scholar at losing first. I had to know how to lose the game to learn how to win the game. My goodness gracious, you guys, don't take anything personal. And that's why I say there's a whole lot of bullying going on during Taurus season. Because if you're not respecting that bull, there's a lot of dominance and there's a lot of entitlement that comes from Tauruses. Because internally they are a king or a queen. So even if they don't know it, even if they never get to see that part of themselves, internally they know that they're valuable. Internally they know they reign over many lands, which is why it's an earth sign. So internally, that's why they always looking for appreciation and some respect in these streets, in these spiritual streets. So I love and I adore Taurus, and I give my love to you. And it's the same way I do every sign, every month. That's why I say you have to really, really tell somebody, man, God really loves you. You made it through every sign. You made it all the way back home. It's just like a game. You just start one place. You know how you start here? You got to go through every sign to get back home. So when you have your birthday, my God, you made it. And so that's why it's amazing when somebody says happy birthday or when somebody say happy solar return. Because that means the whole universe agreed with your cycle. The whole universe agreed with your journey for that year. Because of course there is a year that your time is up. So this is why when your time ain't up and you realize, wow, another year, more wisdom, more money in my account, and more opportunities to get more for myself. You thank God, you thank the universe for those things, all is well. And you thank Zodiacus, which is all 12 of the signs. And you thank Zodiacus, which gives you your map. Alright, and your map was created on the 4th day. So when you're talking about, like I say, the sun, the moons, the stars, and all that, which is pretty much our calendar and our schedule, it was pretty much on the 4th day. It was on the 4th day, which also aligns with the 4th commandment of keeping the Sabbath, which means really keeping a foundation, keeping yourself holy, making sure you have a great spiritual routine about what you're doing, and there's always a day of rest. All right, which correlates to Sagittarius and Pisces. No matter how much you do, you got to have time for self, and you got to have time to reflect, and you got to have time to know, truly know that God is good, because we have said, but God really is good. And what is God? Your generator, your operator, and your destroyer. I get you cranked up, I operate you, and I keep you going, and I take out anything that's away from you, or even you, if you violate yourself. My goodness, all is well today. But I just wanted to say that, you know, I know it's different from how I normally do my lives, especially when I go through the signs. But on a whole nother level, we have to give respect to what's above us or what's within us, you know. And that's why I say we play around, we do memes and all that on the Zodiac. But my God, don't disrespect the Zodiac. No different from you don't want nobody disrespecting your Jesus, Allah, or anything else. My God, Zodiacus is here and here to stay. And that's why all of these things was created before we was. So you have to think about all the changes that are taking place now in the universe. Who was made last? Us. So, you know, anybody that's going to be affected or anything that's going to go down, that's going to affect us. Why? Because the last hired is the first fired. Okay? And we was hired last. Okay? And so the plants and the trees and the animals and all of those things will surpass us. My goodness. So we was the last ones here. We be the first ones to go. Because we are disrespectful to plants and animals. We're the most disrespectful. Man, which is mind. Man, which is mind, which is your consciousness. Which means when you're conscious, that means your awareness. That means you have ability to choose. We have ability to choose the things that we do and the decisions that we make. And so that's why we make our own beds in life, you guys. All is well. Peace and love, you guys. And happy Taurus season. Happy birthday to all the Tauruses. Share this if you care. All is well, you guys. I will be doing the new moon in Taurus. It was already happened last week. But I spent my new moon in Taurus with my children, with my son. He's a sun sign Taurus. So I will be doing that live maybe tomorrow or something like that. So that we can break down kind of what happened with that, so you guys can kind of move forward and look ahead to that full moon in Scorpio. Peace and love and have a good night.